Metropolis Street Racer on the Dreamcast. Hi there YouTube, Mark Vergeer here. Today I wanted to take a look at Metropolis Street Racer for the Dreamcast. This game to me was actually the reason for getting a Dreamcast. I was totally amazed by the graphics. Up till now I was used to the PlayStation 1 graphics, and one of my favorite games was Gran Turismo 2. And actually I recorded this video by hooking up the Dreamcast over to S-Video to that multi-SCART connector thing, and I'm running an S-Video lead to this Dazzle. This Dazzle goes over to the PC, and I'm actually using Pinnacle Studio to record it, but there's a lag, so I use the main TV, which also gets the signal from that SCART box. I use that to play, and I use that monitor, second monitor, to have the grabbing software on it, and so I see how much time I've already grabbed and stuff. So yeah, and I did have some problems with the audio because it was kind of mono coming from the Dreamcast, but that might be a problem with the cable. Okay, let's boot up the PAL Dreamcast. As you can see, the swirl is blue instead of orange. It had to do with a company in Europe that had a similar swirl, but it was orange, so they couldn't use it in Europe. So the European Dreamcast has a blue swirl, whereas the Japanese and the American Dreamcast have an orange swirl. And as you can see, I have booted up the Metropolis Street Racer game, and yeah, just playing some of the intro sequence. Like I said, this game actually made me want to get a Dreamcast. I had been playing a lot of Gran Turismo 2, but that just wasn't enough, and the sheer speed and slickness and just oomph factor of this game really made me want to get a Dreamcast. I had to wait for years for the Dreamcast to come out in Europe, and when it finally arrived, it was already dead, so it didn't really have a chance in a PAL country. Created by Sega. It had online functions, but you can't use them anymore. But yeah, the Dreamcast is a very cool system, and Metropolis Street Racer was one of the games that I think they're the must-have games on the one of the must-have games on the Dreamcast. So let's put in my name. This is very boring, so I might fast forward that a little. Okay, Lactobacillus, that's my, so, Lacto, Vergeer, save the game. Yeah, it really helps to use a memory, some sort of memory save function, otherwise the game will just not be very pleasant. So, Metropolis Street Racer, it's a racing game developed by Bizarre Creations, and it was published by Sega. It was supposed to be a launch title in Europe and North America, but it was delayed a number of times, and the release in Europe was actually only until March 2000, and the United States had to wait for yet another year, February 2001, and I think the Dreamcast was already dead back then. There's also a Japanese version in the works, but that was actually never created. So this is a very, European release. It works. This game works with the kudos system, where you had to race in a very stylish and speedy way, and you got extra points. Kudos. And kudos are actually the main form of currency in this game. Get enough kudos, race in style, and you'll be able to advance to the next level. If you drive too sloppish, like I'm doing here right now, you get penalties, and it will be harder for you to unlock the next level, because you only get to advance to the next level if you've got enough kudos. So yeah, and what was great about this was that the graphics were amazing, simply amazing. Now look at this. I mean, the Dreamcast didn't support what is it, light mapping or anything. It was very much like the PlayStation 1 in that respect. But the whole high resolution graphics of it, I mean, playing this on a VGA monitor is even better. But it featured fictional radio stations, and each city that you race in has 3 of these radio stations, which is amazing because it really gives a sense of being there. And the radio stations sound very much like a real radio station with the local accent or the local language being used. And the cities that you race in are London, San Francisco, and Tokyo. And I believe very nice. What also drew me to this game was actually the huge amount of tracks that were available in this game. I believe it was even more than Gran Turismo, above 250 tracks or something. And they kind of faked it because they used 3 cities and you actually drove around a blocked up area in each specific city. And so yeah, you basically actually were driving around the same neighborhood. And San Francisco really looks amazing. I mean, it really looks the part, in my opinion. I mean, I've been to San Francisco, and it's really that part very close to the harbor, downtown. Yeah, it's really amazing. I mean, you could almost see Alcatraz or something, you know. Let me see. Oh yeah, what also was very nice about this game is the fact that the races took place all across the world, where the weather would actually dynamically change and the lighting situations as well. I mean, if you would race in the morning in, for example, London, it would be, what is it? Well, more than 12 hours later in San Francisco, so that would be night still. So a really amazing game, and yeah, the follow-ups, like I said, were also created by Bizarre Creations, and they span the original Xbox and the Xbox 360. And this was actually a reason for me to get the original Xbox as well, move over to the dark side. Yeah, single player mode, that's the main mode of this game. I mean, don't look at my driving. I'm really rusty here. I mean, I would be able to. I mean, I could play this in one go straight. You know, get to the end, but I really am rusty. I have a tough time with the Dreamcast controller now, whereas I would find it totally comfortable back in the day. Well, like I said, single player mode, and the tracks that you play are unlocked in sequence. But you have to get enough kudos and be stylish enough and good enough to unlock those, otherwise you just get stuck. There's about 10 challenges and about 25 chapters in total, so you will be busy for quite some time to finish the game. There's a couple of different challenges. You have a race with custom rules, like you have to perform a specific task. For example, pass a number of cars, a specific number of cars within time limit. You will find those tasks also in the later games, Metropolis Street Racer. Championships, you have to race against other opponents, and yeah, you have to win, of course. And Street Race is also a single race against multiple opponents. You have a one-on-one race where you race against a single opponent, 3 laps usually, and a hot lap. It's a solo race around the track, and you have to get the best time. You have to beat a specific time. Kudos are awarded for 2 things: style and skill. And every time you finish that, you get kudos awarded for skill and style. Yeah, and you can configure the difficulty of the challenge by trying to change the bet, the wager. Drifting around the track really gets you a lot of points. So yeah, it's really a Japanese style of racing here. Well, you can unlock various cars. You can buy a car in the garage. You can challenge cars, and you can customize the cars. You can change the texture. You can change the license plate and stuff. So yeah, very nice, very nice. Yeah, well, the music is very nice, I can say. Let me see. There's differences in the releases. It's supposed to be some feature a couple of bugs. I've got actually a couple. Airplane Gamer got one of my copies, but I still have a number of copies. And the copy I am playing is the copy that is has the number MK51022-50, and it's the PAL release. And you're able to run it at 60 Hertz, so there's actually no difference between the PAL or the NTSC version. Playing it in VGA mode is actually very nice, and yeah, excellent game, really worth getting. If you don't have a Dreamcast, get a Dreamcast, and if you don't have this game, get this game. It's relatively easy to obtain, and it's relatively cheap. So yeah, and if you have Metropolis, and if you have Project Gotham Racing on the 360, 3 and 4, perhaps you should consider getting Project Gotham Racing 1 and 2 on the original Xbox. The 360 is backwards compatible to some degree with the first two Metropolis Street Racer games, but not very. There are some difficulties. I've explained that in earlier videos. Perhaps I will link those earlier videos to this video in the description box below. And yeah, it's just me babbling on. Yeah, I think this is all I have to say, have to tell you about Metropolis Street Racer. Great game, and a must-have in my opinion. And for me, this recording this was actually trying to test out if my Dazzle would actually work in recording footage from the SCART. And I'm able to play the game, like I explained in the video. I'm able to play the game from the main picture on the big TV, and I use the second monitor on the PC to have graphics on the display. The footage that I'm recording, so I can keep an eye on the grabbing process. I mean, the Dazzle probably is a bit too slow for complete smooth frame grabbing. Yeah, I've captured better footage with the built-in TV card with the grabbing footage, but for some reason I didn't like the multiple SCART setup that much, so I have to tweak that a little. Yeah, well, I think now I really will shut up and let you see how I finish the race, finish the couple of challenges here, the chapters, and you will see that I'm actually too bad to actually make it to the end, and because I don't have enough kudos to actually unlock the next couple of challenges. So yeah, I'm really rusty here. I need to get some more. Well, Mark signing off, and perhaps I'll be back with another nice Dreamcast game or a game on another console. I'll be able to grab all sorts of footage like this